right? Not just that, but he's so kind, so generous, so loving. I'm so grateful for you. It is so fun to co create with him. Let's give him a hand, y'all. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So I am really excited this morning, y'all, and I will let you know why. And that is because this is the first time as your minister that I am doing a fall faith series. Yes. Right? That's awesome, y'all. Fall faith series. Does everyone raise your hand if you knew that? All right. Some of you did. Now you all know, right? Now you all know. So I love it because fall is upon us, right? I got up and walked Toby at 6 in the morning, and there was a little bit of crispness in the air, just a hint. And that made me so happy because I love the fall. And I also love the fall because school starts in the fall, right? Well, not true. Our kids start in the summer. But when I was young, we started in the fall. And so for me, fall marks, I know for you too as well, Terry Olson, new beginnings, right? New learnings. And it gives opportunities for school supplies. Who's a school supply addict? Me too. Me too. I had to go to Office Depot this week. Never mind, I have plenty of supplies. And so this is all a long-winded way of saying come back. Come back, come back. Renew your commitment to learning, renew your commitment to faith. And so this fall series is going to last, it's beginning today, and it's going to last until November 2nd. And we're focusing on Eric Butterworth. How many of you know Eric Butterworth? All right, okay. You'll still get a little bit of an introduction to him. We're going to work on one of his foundational books called Discover the Power Within You. And so that's what we're doing this morning. I'm going to talk about that. I'll be talking about that every Sunday from now till November 2nd. So you're going to walk away today with a little bit of an introduction about him, talk about his book, just beginning some of the teachings of his book. And then last, because school has started, you probably know you're getting homework. So you'll have a teaching to take with you at home. The other thing we're introducing, and I hope that you decide to come, is beginning next Sunday after church. We're going to get in a circle at over there, and the back of the sanctuary. What? I was all confused about right, left. Anyway, the back of the sanctuary, get into a circle and talk about discover the power within. Basically, talk about the divine potential and how it's showing up. And because I'm giving you homework, you will have something to talk about because you will have the week to notice what teaching you worked with and how it showed up in your life. So, what do y'all think? Yes. Exciting, right? I'm very excited. I get to buy more school supplies. So. So you know, and you probably already do, Eric Butterworth was a leading figure in the Unity movement. Many of you already know that. He was born in 1960 in Canada. He was raised in Southern California by a mother who was ordained in Unity. Did y'all know that piece? Yeah, huge. And you can see that he was just like Keith Vivens is a Unity baby. They're different, right? I, yeah, they're different, so it's a good thing. He established Unity Ministries in several cities, Pittsburgh, Detroit, New York City. His church in Detroit called Unity Temple at one point had an attendance of 2,000 people. I know, right? 2,000. Your dad worked there. Wow. Y'all know his daddy was a Unity minister, right? Yeah, his daddy worked there. So then he moved to New York City, and Reverend Vita isn't here this morning, but she will be, and she is a part of this series because Eric Butterworth is one of her favorite authors and also was her teacher because she attended New York City locations where he was teaching, Carnegie, Avery Fisher Hall, and again, attendance upwards of 2,000. So that gives you an idea of who Butterworth was and the kind of attention he attracted. His book, Discover the Power Within, is the one we're going to work on this entire series. This, you will notice, is an old cover. There's a new one. This is the old one. And it's crazy, right? It's so crazy that I had to read a new one because the notes it's just too much. I can no longer read it. But but that's okay. What I want to say about that book is it's probably the most well-known. It's the book that was published by HarperCollins, not just a Unity published book. That's a big piece, something to know. Do y'all know Oprah Winfrey? Okay, so Oprah Winfrey says that this book absolutely changed her life and her view of religion. He's the only Unity minister ever to be on the Oprah Winfrey show. I'm going to hunt that down because I've never seen it. I'm sure y'all have heard of Dr. Maya Angelou, poet, performer, just extraordinary woman. She says that Eric Butterworth was her teacher. And in the new edition, she writes the preface for it, which I think is so lovely. So if you happen to buy one, buy the newer edition because, well, just do. So, because it also has her preface in it, right? So he was a minister for 4 decades in New York City, gifted theologian, philosopher. And so what is so compelling about his message, or even what is so compelling about Discover the Power Within? It is our essential teachings of unity, right? He discovered the power within you. He wanted us to understand that that divine potential is always within us, right? And he wanted people to live from that awareness, that knowingness. So this book is very much a reclaiming Jesus' teachers, Jesus' teachings. It's very much a renaissance of Christian faith, a new understanding. I like to always say an expansion. That's a word that always works for me, is he expands that definition of Christianity and how we understand it. There's something else. He made his transition in 2003 at the age of 86. His spouse, Olga, delivered the last sermon he wrote on Easter Sunday, just days before his passing. And she was a huge part of his ministry. She, in fact, gave the meditations. Thomas. She gave the meditations before he did the sermons. Right? No? He says no, he's not doing it. That's okay. Not doing it. He does other stuff. So here's what his book begins with the premise that he takes John 14:12 to heart. And y'all know that John 14:12 is truly, truly I say to you, whoever believes in me will also do the works that I do, and greater works than these will he do, because I am going to the Father. Y'all know that. And he takes that to heart. So I first read it in 2007, and it absolutely changed my life. Prior to 2007, I was raised with the idea that Jesus died for our sins, right, and suffered at the cross. And I'm in no way belittling that. If that's a faith and something that works for anyone, that's absolutely perfectly fine. I just know for me, this teaching, this idea of knowing that Jesus has mastered a particular kind of consciousness, and that consciousness is knowing that he was the inlet and the outlet of God. Amen. He was the absolute divine intelligence. That's what he, I believe, came to teach. And what he came to teach, as y'all know, it's not that I have this power and I'm going to yield it over you, right? That's not what he was to do. It's more like, I have this, and guess what? You do too. Wow. So do you. And just the way I can create out of this and have peace and love for everyone, you can as well. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. That's just so beautiful. It's an indwelling power that each of us has. So, given that, I, as always, have an affirmation. Does that help? That you can take with you. And the affirmation this morning is simply, I believe in my divinity. I believe in my divinity. Just take that in. Or you can, if that doesn't work, I believe in my divine potential. And just take that in and just see how it feels. Feel it in your body, your mind. Feel and be aware of where it is you don't believe that. Where in your life do you not believe that? And then place that truth teaching upon it of I believe in my divinity. I believe in my divine potential. And just breathe that in. And so that's what I want for you to have this week, is that affirmation, that teaching. Because what he says is that when we begin our life from this peace, here's what we know. Something wonderful is going to happen. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. Something wonderful. I love the way, thank you, Marty. She knows that for sure, and I know she does. She shared that with me this morning. Something wonderful is going to happen when you start from that place. Something wonderful. So, looking at my own life, I read that because he actually says, create your life from this, and then something wonderful will happen. And I read, commence your journey through the pages of Discover the Power Within You, and let something wonderful happen to you. And so I thought, do I wake up every morning and say something wonderful is going to happen to me with expectancy? Do I do that? Because guess what? I don't. Some mornings I wake and I'm like, what's the to-do list, right? The running to-do list. What time's Jan going to call me and give me my to-do list? Look at her over there. Right? Some days I do. So I realized, is it that nothing wonderful is happening? Right? That's not the case. Am I shifting to see that something wonderful is happening? That's the thing, right? Shifting the perspective, shifting the focus, which, as y'all know, is one of our principles, Principle 3, about we create our lives through our way of thinking. And that's very much what Eric Butterworth is telling us. Shift to that positive. Look for the wonderful. So some of the wonderful that happened to me yesterday morning is that our refrigerator went kaput. It did that beeping noise it does, beep, beep, which kind of tells you it's tired of doing what it's been doing. And so Thomas, as he always does, he reminded me of my dad in that way. All the good and the bad, right? No, I'm teasing. All the wonderful ways. He starts just like looking at the refrigerator, pulling things out, deciding what we can keep, deciding what we can't. We've got a small refrigerator upstairs in our sitting room, taking things up. Theo was eating lunch and says, I'm going to have to help. I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to help, right? We're going to have to help him. And so we do. Theo starts cutting strawberries because that way you can freeze them. And I start doing something. I don't know what it is. And you know, we have condiments, you know, on the counter, and I look at Thomas and I say, well, we have found ourselves in a pickle. To which he says, you said that because there's a pickle jar on the counter. I'm like, well, yeah, of course I did. Right, inspiration. But here is something wonderful that happened. There is something so sacred about being with people you love and coming together to solve something, to help one another, right? It's just so sacred. And I couldn't help but just feel good. It's like, the refrigerator is gone out. But look at us having this joyful time and being able to laugh about the refrigerator going out and the fact that I keep peanut butter in the refrigerator. I keep almost everything in the refrigerator, it turns out. I discovered, right? So it can all, no matter what it is, can be wonderful. We can find something in it to be wonderful. So, and the premise that we have to start from is the place of divine potential, right? The place of divinity, the place of knowing that there's always a higher way of being and living and knowing and trusting. There's always a higher way. And that's what Eric Butterworth taught us. So he talks about what Robert Brummett talked about in Living Originally, and it will be no shock to y'all that so often for years and years and years always is there's this eternal quest for looking for happiness on the outside. That's what he says. Everyone's always looking for happiness on the outside. And the fact is that will never come. You will never find happiness on the outside. You have to turn within. So he says the great discovery is to learn it's within. It's within. Turn within. Then he talks about that I want to share with you guys. This is the piece. He says, most religious books are church-centered, Jesus-centered, dogma-centered, yet Jesus stressed a spiritual philosophy that is you-centered. In other words, we cannot accomplish Jesus' ideals simply by believing things about him. We must come to believe about ourselves what Jesus believed about himself. This book is not something to believe, it is something to do. Right? This book is not something to believe, it's something to do. And that's why I want us to come together on Sundays for a deeper dive, so we can talk about what is it we're doing. Because I promise you, when we talk about what we're doing, we are uplifting the consciousness of everywhere, everyone, and we get ideas from each other, right? We get to co-create with one another. It is something to do, to live from divine potential. And the next point I want to talk about is the great decision. And so he says that Jesus knew what the psalmist implied, which is my absolute favorite psalm. I've shared it with y'all before, 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. Jesus knew himself to be an expression of God, the activity of God life and intelligence pressing itself into invisibility. Isn't that beautiful? God life and intelligence pressing itself into invisibility. Right? We can all think about ourselves that way, that God life is pressing itself into visibility through us and as us. He knew that the kingdom of God, the wealth of the universe, was within the depth potential within him. And what he says is that we don't know the process. We don't know how that happened. That's what he says. We really don't truly know. We just know that by the time he shows up in the gospel, right, by the time he gets baptized by John, he already knows this. He already knows it, right? He already speaks that talk. He already says, I am one. I am one with the Father. I am one. He says that all over. I am one. What I can do, you can do as well, right? But here's what we do know is that he was a teacher. That's absolutely was. He was a teacher, and he leaves us a blueprint so we can do the same. Amen. Doesn't that feel amazing? Yes. That just feels amazing. So, great decision. What is the great decision? What are you deciding today? I'll let you know what you're deciding today. I'm making the decision for you. Here's what you're deciding today. 1, I decide to have an intimate relationship with my higher power, God, Spirit, universe, whatever works, whatever word works for you. For Jesus, it was Abba, which meant Father. 2, I decide that the spiritual path is not simply a way of believing, but a way of living, taking the higher road, the higher way of love and peace for everyone. Paul says it best in Romans 12:2, be not conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So there's a saying that goes, let's see, I'm terrible at remembering sayings. I'm going to try. The whole thing about this world is going hell in a handbasket, right? Y'all know that word? So what Paul would be saying is that saying, that's the patterns of the world, right? You talk to people, they're like, oh my God, the world, where it's been, or where, right? Y'all know those people. Maybe you're one of them sometimes, right? So this is the idea. Whatever that is that you're seeing out in the world, that you're seeing out picturing, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be your truth. It doesn't even have to be the truth, right? When you're living from the indwelling peace and power within you. So that's what that is. And that's the practice. 3, we decide to know that the Christ is a self-livingness of God, and it is in us at the point of God. Isn't that beautiful? We decide to become conscious of this root of our being. It's the very root of our being. 4, we decide to be born into a new and higher state of consciousness. H. Emily Cady's words, she says it best, have thy way in me, manifest thyself through me. And then 5, we make the decision to reach for the highest and to claim the divinity within us, which takes us back to our affirmation. I believe in my divinity. I believe in my divinity, excuse me. So for this fall faith series, you're being asked to make a commitment and renewed commitment to your faith. You're being asked to believe in your divinity. Just believe in it. Lean into it. You're being asked to show up, right? To join us, to come Sundays, to come to our deeper dive into these practices. And I look forward to what will be unfolded within all of us, through us, and as us. And thank you for being this part of this community and such a huge part of my life. I love y'all. Amen.